Hey everyone. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to multiply by a monomial and just some of the general properties for multiplying with polynomials. All right, so when you're multiplying by a monomial, you need to do two things. You need to multiply your coefficients and you need to add the exponents of your like bases. Okay, so we'll take a look at a couple of examples. In the first one, we're multiplying 4x times 3x. So again, you're multiplying the coefficients 4 times 3, which gives me 12. And then I am adding the exponents. We don't see exponents here, so we assume that they are 1. So it's x to the first plus x to the first, which means it's going to be x squared. Okay, so 4x times 3x is 12x squared. And in the second one, we have negative 2 times 3, which gives me negative 6. And then x to the third times x to the second. We know we have to add those, so it becomes x to the fifth. All right, let's take a look at another example. Okay, so here, same idea. We have multivariables though, so you're going to multiply your coefficients and you're going to add the exponents of the like bases. And I highlight that again here because it is important, especially when you're looking at some with multiple variables. Okay, so the first one, negative 3 times 4, that gives me negative 12. Okay, then I have x squared and x to the 6th, which is x to the 8th. And then y to the 3rd and y to the 4th is going to be y to the 7th. All right, and the second one, negative 5 times negative 2 gives me 10. And then I have x to the 16th, 10 plus 6, y to the 12th, 8 plus 4, and z to the first, which is z squared. Okay, so that's all there is with multiplying a monomial by a monomial. Let's take a look at some others. Okay, so here, starting to multiply by a polynomial, starting here with what is a binomial. So this one, pretty much the same as distributive property. You're going to distribute that 2x and then follow the rules for multiplying by a monomial. So 2x times negative 2x, that would be 2 times negative 2, which is negative 4. And then x to the first times x to the first gives me x squared. So that's my first term multiplied by my first term. And then I'm going to do 2x times 3. 2 times 3 gives me 6. And then x times, we don't have an x, so we just move that 1x over. There's my solution. All right, let's take a look at a couple more examples with multiplying by a monomial and a binomial. Okay, so again, distributive property, 4x times x squared. This is like having a 1 here, so that becomes 4x to the third, because we have 1 plus 2 for the exponents. And then 4x times negative 6 is negative 24x. And the last one, distribute this negative 2x. So negative 2 times negative 4 gives me 8. X to the first and x to the third gives me x to the fourth. And then we multiply by the second term. Negative 2 times 5 is going to give me negative 10. And then x to the first times x to the first is going to be x squared when you multiply those together. Technically, again, you're adding the exponents. All right, so there's some examples of multiplying by a monomial. We did a monomial times a monomial. We did a monomial times a polynomial. Specifically in this one, we did binomials, but the same is applied if you have, if you're multiplying a monomial by a trinomial and then anything else larger than trinomial, a 4-term polynomial, 5-term, whatever, you would just be distributing that monomial and multiplying by each of your terms. Okay, so again, when you're multiplying by a monomial, you are multiplying the coefficients and adding the exponents.